Good morning, how are you? I'm adjusting the light here so that we can all make sure that what you're watching is clear, what you're hearing is clear, and the image is not distorted. So just doing that for a second, watching you all come on for this conversation, which is an extension of discussions coming from You Are the Universe, discovering your cosmic self and why it matters. And I also want to just share that my new book with Rudy Tanzi is coming out January 30th, The Healing Self, a revolutionary new plan to supercharge your immune system and stay well for life. So anyway, those are my announcements. Now getting to today's discussion, which is about what is reality. And so I'll start with a statement that might seem in the beginning a little irrational, but that's fine. And as we go deeper, maybe it'll make more sense. So the statement that I'm going to start with, hi Aurora, how are you? Nice to see you here. The statement that I'm going to start with is that the finite, anything that is in time or anything that has a boundary, is ungraspable, and the only thing that is real is the infinite. So that is what many traditions, of course, say, that that which is real never ceases to exist, and that which is unreal never is. That which is unreal never is, never was, never will be, and that which is real never ceases to exist. So what I'm saying here is that which is finite is unreal, and that which is infinite is real. And let us explore this, because all our problems and all our suffering is a result of identifying with that which is not real, which is transient, which is ephemeral, which is but a little shimmering, a little evanescent excitation, a dream, a projection, a quivering in that which is real, a quivering in that which is real. So let's start by looking at what we call everyday reality, which is, of course, our perceptual experiences. So when we say perceptual experiences, then let's go with human perceptual experiences, because there are perceptual experiences of other species of consciousness that are not available to us. But human perceptual experiences are in the form of sound, in the form of color, in the form of sensation, in the form of taste, in the form of smell. Sound. You're hearing sound right now. A sound is an intermittent experience. So a sound is an intermittent vibration. It's on, then it's off. It's on and it's off. Furthermore, there is no sound in the absence of hearing. And there is no hearing in the absence of an awareness in which the hearing occurs. So what we call a sound is an intermittent vibration of awareness. The awareness is always there, but the sound is intermittent. It comes and it goes. No sound is ever continuous. Similarly, no form, no color, no shape is possible in the absence of seeing. And seeing is an activity in awareness of awareness. Right now you're seeing me. This is an intermittent experience of that which we call form. And you can look around in your room, wherever you are, and you see something else. Okay, so seeing is an activity in awareness. It is actually made out of awareness, and the experience is form and color and shape. The same thing can be said of sensation. Sensation could be this sensation, it could be this sensation, it could be this sensation, but sensation is an off and an on. If I put my hand on your thigh and I don't move it for a while, you won't know it's there after a while. But then if I start to move it again, you might say, what the heck are you trying to do? So sensation is an intermittent experience, and sensation is an activity of awareness in awareness. And the same is true of taste, and the same is true of smell. Furthermore, no two people have the same experience of exactly the same gestalt of sound, sensation, form, image, color, taste and smell. And then of course there is the feeling that's aroused, and no two people have the exact same feeling. I might enjoy coffee and you might love it, and a third person might find it so bitter that they have to throw up. So you can see that all experience has a frame of reference, and that includes the experience of what we call time. I'm having a good time, time flies. I'm bored, time drags. I am in love, time doesn't exist. I have too many deadlines, I'm running out of time. The same is true of the experience of what we call space. The space is shaped by what we call the perceptual experiences in the space. We call these perceptual experiences object, but before you call it experience an object, it is actually an experience, and the experience is again in awareness. Awareness never goes away, whether you're having this experience or that experience or the absence of all experience, as in sleep, deep sleep. In deep sleep, if somebody pinches you, you will respond. If somebody shouts at you and says your house is burning, you might jump out and run out of the house. In deep sleep, a mother is very aware of her a child, especially if she's very closely bonded with that child. The child can be in one location and the mother can be in a different location. She's in deep sleep. When the child feels hungry, the mother's breast leaks with milk. So there is conscious experience, and then there's awareness without experience. All the time, awareness is there. So the only thing that is real is awareness. The experience itself is a finite, ephemeral, evanescent, shimmering, quivering excitation of awareness. The experience is finite. The experiencer is infinite. Of course, we refer to the experiencer as I. But now we can go to a deeper level, and we should do that, because only by going to the deepest level can we ultimately be free of the constructs to which we are attached. So coming to this deeper level in 15 seconds, okay? So we were saying that the experience is finite, but the experiencer is not finite, is infinite. The experiencer is infinite. The infinite is dimensionless and inconceivable and boundaryless and unimaginable, cannot be seen, cannot be touched, tasted, smelt, defined, imagined, but without which there would be no experience. Okay? So only the infinite is real, because without the infinite there would be no experience of that which we call finite. And the finite experience is always relative to the frame of reference. So my finite experience, or that which I call my finite experience right now, is the room I'm sitting in and everything I can perceive and think about. And your finite experience is something else, because the frame of reference is different. But in this argument and this discussion, the frame of reference is what we are calling the body-mind. This body-mind is the frame of reference for the experience this body-mind is having right now. But what is it that is also aware of the body-mind? What is it that is experiencing that which we call the body-mind? Obviously, there's an awareness that is aware of a thought. That is awareness that is aware of a feeling. There's an awareness that is aware of the sound, of the taste, of the smell, of the sensation. And the body-mind itself is a gestalt of these sensations, images, feelings, and thoughts. So what is it that is aware of this experience that is called a body-mind? Does that have a location? And if it doesn't have a location, then it's absolute. If it doesn't have a location, it is absolute. And being absolute and timeless, it is free. It is not bound by any experience. It can enjoy the experience, it can have the fullness of experience, it can participate in the experience, but it cannot be bound by the experience. The eternal witnessing awareness that is infinite, and you and I are aspects of that infinite. Even as individual souls, we are aspects of that infinite. The infinite is not subject to birth and death. Yes, Ramanand Dikshit, it has no birth, it has no death, only the experience has birth and death. A thought has birth and death, a feeling has birth and death, an image has birth and death, a perception has birth and death, but the awareness in which it is happening, that which we call I, even the conditioned I, is not subject to birth and death. The conditioned I evolves to other modes of conditioning and ultimately gets the insight that its real nature is the unconditioned self. Absolute, eternal, timeless. And that is very freeing, it's very joyful, it's very creative, and it is timeless and eternal. we are that. So now, before I conclude, what I'd like to do is share with you some of my favorite sayings from the Upanishads. And I'm reading these sayings from a favorite book of mine called the Upanishads by Eknath Easwaran, whom I knew, and he was an amazing person. So I'm going to read a few of the sayings from the Upanishads because everything that I say has been said before by those who have taken this journey before you and I. So this is from the Isha Upanishad. The self is everywhere. Bright is the self. Indivisible, untouched by sin, wise, immanent and transcendent. It is the self that holds the cosmos together. Okay? So that's beautiful, right? From the Isha Upanishad. From the Isha Upanishad also, and this anybody who knows Sanskrit has heard this before. All this is full. All that is full. From fullness, fullness moves. From fullness, fullness comes. From fullness is taken, when fullness is taken from fullness, fullness still remains. I'll repeat this. All this is full, all that is full. From fullness, fullness comes. From fullness is when fullness is taken from fullness, fullness still remains. Which means that the infinite cannot be divided. Infinity divided by infinity is infinity. Infinity multiplied by infinity is infinity. Infinity subtracted from infinity is infinity. Infinity added to infinity is infinity. Yes, Ramanand Dikshit, Purnamidha Purnamidham. Purnamidha Purnamidham. Absolutely. So it doesn't matter if you're an individual soul or you're part of the collective soul or you're part of the infinite soul. In fact, there is no part. It is just the infinite being expressing itself as a finite experience, like a wave on the ocean, like breeze in the wind, etc. Here's another one from the Chandogya Upanishad. Lead me from the unreal to the real. Lead me from darkness to light. Lead me from death to immortality. Om Shanti. Okay, let me find a couple of others. And here's one from the Mundaka Upanishad, and you'll like this very much. As the web issues out of the spider and is withdrawn, as plants sprout from the earth, as hair grows from the body, even so, the sages say this universe springs from the deathless self, the source of life. Okay, so with those beautiful sayings, let me then come to some very important conclusions. Some very important conclusions. These are from my notes. You know, sometimes in the early morning, when I wake up, I have these insights and I write them down. So this morning I wrote some of them. And so I'll just call them insights. I want to share them with you. Okay? The first insight, the body is not made of parts but functions as a whole. That's the premise of the healing self. That which we call a body is not a thing, it functions as a whole. And that which we call the body, the healing self, is the whole universe. That's why that beautiful sutra from the Shiva Sutras, where Lord Shiva says, meditate on your body as the universe and having the nature of awareness. Number 2, there are no such things as things. Everything that we call a thing is an activity of the whole. Number 3, there is no such entity as a person inhabited by an ego self. There is no such thing as a person inhabited by an ego self. That which we call the person is an activity of the whole as well, right? And there's no ego self, there's no little Deepak sitting here inside this body, maybe behind the brain, looking out of the world. Number 4, duality is an illusion. Number 5, birth and death are constructs. All there is potential and actual, and the potential and the actual alternate. The potential becomes the actual rests in the potential. Number 6, control of nature or conquest of nature is insanity. Control of nature or conquest of nature is insanity. And this is what we are trying to do right now. And this insanity is causing the extinction of other species and the destruction of the ecosystem and climate change and everything that is total insanity. Okay? So please don't buy into the insanity just because everybody thinks it's normal. Number 7, as biological organisms, we are not individuals in the world, but a particular activity of it, because nothing exists by itself. So with this then, we can come to certain very interesting intentions. The goal of life should be effortless being. The goal of life should be lightness of being. The only emotions should be those that heal: love, compassion, joy, equanimity, and peace. Memory should not be allowed to victimize us. As Lord Shiva says, I use memories, but I do not allow memories to use me. Creative expression and participating in the creativity of the universe should be our greatest adventure. Number 6, we should be independent of both criticism and flattery. Now, of course, there are people who will say, pounce on me. My friend Jet Thurman will pounce on me, and she says, you have been offended in the past by the attacks on you by militant atheists. That's true, but I'm learning. So the ideal state is to be independent of both flattery and criticism. Number 7, our true nature is fearless. Absolute fearlessness, because only our ego identity can be grounded in fear. Number 8, let us not localize our identity too much. So it is better to be without labels, without descriptions, without constructs. Can we live a life where we don't need to define ourselves, label ourselves, judge ourselves, evaluate ourselves, describe ourselves, define ourselves, because every definition is a limitation. Number 9, can we understand that there is only consciousness, and that is it. There is only consciousness, and everything else is a ripple in that vast ocean of consciousness. And when we are grounded in that consciousness, then it is indefinable, inconceivable, just pure existence. And finally, that what we call our collective everyday reality is shaped by agreements on our collective constructs. The reality is a separate ego mind encapsulated in a body looking out at the world does not exist. How freeing is that? So this is what it really means to say that the unreal never existed and the real never ceases to exist. This is reality. This is you, this is me, Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, Yogast Kuru Karmani, Prakratim Swam Vashtbai Vishwajami Puna Puna, Purnamidha, Purnamidham, all these little reminders to really understand that the unreal never was, never is, never will be, and the real never ceases to exist. I'm so happy to see all of you and to continue this dialogue on a daily basis with you. Let me repeat my 10 intentions for all of us. Effortless being, lightness, divine emotions, not victimized by memory, participating in the creativity of the universe, not offended or flattered, fearless, intimacy with self, which means intimacy with the universe, understanding only consciousness has the reality, and now endeavoring to shift our collective experience of reality and moving in the direction of upgrading the illusion so that we can enjoy a more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthier and happier world. Look at those colors in my back, they exist in you. Look at me, I exist in you. Look at those images in the back, they all exist in you. The whole universe exists in you. That is what Rumi meant when he said, I look inside your eyes and I see the whole universe not yet born. The universe is born and subsides in awareness in an eternal now. You and I are the eternal now. Can we shift? We must shift. We must shift. We are mirrors of the whole universe. Robin Page says, yes. My friend George Harrison wrote a song called The Rising Sun, which was published after he passed on. And in that song, which I'll play for you one of these days, he says, the universe at play inside your DNA, you're 1 billion years old today. In the hall of mirrors you can see for miles, and everyone there is you in disguise. Take care, God bless, and I'll see you tomorrow. Robin, I agree, we must shift. We are the eternal now.